got to be one of the best sounds in the whole world. What do you reckon, Sarge?
Like most of you guys, you start with being in the Deer Stalkers and club, and got buddied up with a senior Deer Stalkers member, and I hunted with my father as well. And so in those days we all had the 303. There was no debate between 6.5 and 308 back then. But back in those days, the rifles, we had some good rifles, but some of the rifles were quite rough. And you had some hits, but we had some misses as well, and I didn't like that too much, and you started to wonder, you know, a lot of the time if you're wounding animals, you sort of think, well, this is not on, you know. And then I moved to the 6.5 by 55. Oh, yeah. And at that time, there was a huge amount of hype around the cartridge. It was really hyped up that you could do things with it, like the bullets would just penetrate through elephant and moose and all this sort of carry on. So I went on my happy way with my 6.5, and unfortunately the bullets I was using weren't up to the task. At that stage I hadn't really looked at the question of bullet selection. Someone said that 6.5 is the way to go, so I just went with that. And I had bullet blow up straight away. I was losing animals right from the get-go with the particular load I was using. And then I guess I'm a little bit OCD with my research. I wanted to find out more, and from that moment on, I just went carte blanche. I purchased rifles of every calibre, and we started accurising rifles as well, and learning as much as we could. And my wife has been my partner since we were young, so we were together in this, and yeah, so things went on, and I went to extremes. You know, I went into big magnums and big ball cartridges and high velocity small balls, all sorts of carry on. And you know, I went full circle, because at the end of the day, you know, you come back to the point where you're doing it's the bullet that counts, you know, more so than the cartridge you're using. So along the way, I decided I wanted to write a book about hunting cartridges to help educate people, and that turned into such an animal. I was going nowhere with that, so a guy came along and said, how about we put this for free on the website, because it's just going nowhere, you're not actually going to get it out there. So we started the website to help educate people, and there was a sort of a spirit of giving, and we just hoped that somewhere along the lines we'd be able to recoup on that. And then I started writing this book series here, and in that we used the knowledge base. We gave that away for free, and this book series, which I've just about completed, has been how we've made money from it. And I also developed bedding compounds in 2008 through 2009, and that was another product so we export all of that around the world, the compounds and the books, and yeah, that's pretty much what we do. But I don't like these seminars where we have one person stand at the front and just waffle on, so I just thought that maybe we could just have an open discussion where if you guys have got questions, you ask your questions, and then that will just lead it in the direction that we want it to go in, because there's just so much we could discuss and so many directions we could go in, so we'll just see what the hot topics are. But I was just wondering, how many of you guys have actually been onto our website and had a look around? So a few. Oh, alright, cool. So you sort of know what you do and so forth. So maybe you might have some questions that lead on from that. But anyway, has anyone got any questions at all they want to know about ballistics, firearms?
I do my own relating and stuff like that, and I've just got a standard off-the-shelf Ticker T3.
Okay.
And they're pretty accurate rifle just off the shelf, but I don't know anything about bedding, and I kind of like to know what's bedding. You know, tell me about what it does for me and what it would entail if I was to.
All right. So how many guys myself have actually bedded their own rifles? So a few, and no one else not really into it at all, and don't know too much about it. Bedding is extremely important because your rifle, the metalwork of your rifle, is pretty much like a tuning fork. So harmonics is the key word, and how that rifle rings each time you fire it will affect where that bullet goes. And you need everything to be the same. That's the key word for rifles. Is simply reloaded. You've got to have each charge is the same. So with bedding, we try and create a mirror image of the metalwork of the rifle inside the stock, so that it's not hung up. There's no pressure points anywhere. There's no stresses. There's no seesawing of the action or stress points on the action. And with that, we can ensure that sameness all the time. However, and this is what you've really got to be careful of, you'll see all around the world at the moment, the big trend is to make this exact mirror image so that when the action goes into the bedding compound, and the compound forms into this hard matrix, when the person removes the action and cleans it up, once they put it back in again, the fit is so tight that it becomes pinched. And it's funny, we've got to go back to artillery. In artillery, when the shot's fired, for a start, if you had a fixed gun and you had no recoiling mechanism on it, it would break all the mount points like it was a naval gun. You can't just have a gun that's fixed and just doesn't go anywhere because it'll just smash it into pieces. So we need the firearm within the stock to actually recoil and come back to battery. So, and it's got to have that relief. So on the one hand, you need a mirror imprint of the action inside the stock, but on the other hand, you need this relief so that it can actually recoil and return to battery. So that's the key word, return to battery. With your ticker, it's got an aluminium recoil lug in it, and the aluminium is quite soft, and then you've got your hard stainless steel or blade steel action, and it hits that lug. That soft lug's put a bit of give in it, and eventually it bites, and you see on the tickers they have that bite mark after all when you go to clean your gun, where the action's just been biting into that point. And that's, again, that's very old technology. That goes back to the mortars when they used to have a brass pin going through the stock, and that just helps that rifle return to battery. So it bites against that and then comes forward again. So it is actually moving, each shot will move, even though to us we can't see it. You know, it feels like a tight fit, and you screw it up tight and so forth, but they do move each time. So yeah, it's very, very important for accuracy. The ticker, they do it through manufacturing techniques. They have it's an ultra cheap stock, and but they've flipped it. They've absolutely nailed this design where you've got the soft recoil, aluminium recoil lug, and this cheesy bloody stock, but in what they've done, it's just perfect. It just comes together really, really well. So for a budget gun, they're great.
So there'd be no call to rebed that?
Some need bedding and some don't, and that really comes down to what you see in the range. I mean, we sell bedding kits and we help people around the world, and we're trying to make money. But I'm not going to sell something to someone just for the sake of it. If your rifle's accurate, I don't see any need to go messing with it. I'm not that kind of person, I'm afraid. So yeah, if it's good, it's good. But there are times when you really need to consider a wooden stock, for instance. The wood fibres will compress over time. And you know, we have these beautiful rifles of old, and the stock's split. Anything that should have only ever been protected many years ago. And by putting in pillars and actually bedding it, you can protect your wooden stock and really look after it. Another instance is when, for the ticker, if you do the screws up too tight, the stock's splayed and they crush down into the recoil lug, and the whole system's destroyed. So one important thing, how many ticker shoes have we got here? Heaps, I suppose. Most of you are right. So ticker maintenance, this is a really big deal. The screws go through into a plastic bottom floor plug.
I've got one here if you want to pull it to bits and show them.
You can. Have you got your torque?
Yep. I haven't got a torque wrench, but I've got a screwdriver. I don't torque it.